Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
Good.
So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Jeff, it's good to see you in person. Melinda
Nice.
Todd.
Hey, Melinda. Nice to connect with you as well.
Yeah, and while people are joining, if you want to just give your name and email and what agency you represent in the chat box, so we'll have all that.
So should I put NC State even though I don't know if I'm functioning in an official capacity or does it matter? Doesn't matter to you guys?
Yeah, it's what I guess it's, you know, if you
I don't think they would mind.
Yeah, it's up to you. What do you do at NC State?
Oh, I guess I should say that. I oversee career services for the Wilson College of Textiles.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I think I've had interaction with maybe your counterpart in IT, which now her name is escaping me. But we've been in several meetings together.
Oh, great. Yeah, there's a lot of satellite career offices on campus. So there's a few of us. Who's your puppy in the background there?
Oh, that is my old beagle. His name is Donut. He
Nice.
does sleep. He sleeps most of the day.
That's a great name.
And it's a cool name, Melinda.
You know, the big dog is called Bagel because she looks kind of like Donut, but she's bigger.
That's great.
My niece came up with that name. We'll wait a couple more minutes. I'm pretty sure some other people are planning on joining us. Maybe they're having a little trouble. Let's see, as people are joining us, we're going to get started in just a minute or two, but go ahead and put your name, your email address, and your organization in the chat box. All right, well, I'm hoping we'll get a few more people. Maybe a few people are running late, but I definitely want to respect the group that we have here and everyone's time. And maybe we'll be a very small strategic group. So I think we're going to be fine no matter what. If you do have a question as we're going, I think we're a small enough group you could jump in there. But if we end up getting bigger, you can use the raise your hand feature. And then if you've called in by phone, use the *6 to mute and unmute, and *9 to raise and lower your hand. But again, I think we're a small enough group that people can just jump in and ask questions and unmute when you have anything come up. So we'll go ahead to the next slide. And first of all, I just want to, for those of you who weren't at the last meeting, just to give a little bit of an update. What we did is we actually had someone from the new, or actually 3 people from the New Start program, which is a similar program to us. It's a federally funded reentry organization in the eastern part of the state, and they've done a lot of connecting people to employment. So, and they've been doing it for a few years. So they shared some of their information, and then we talked about some of our other strategies. One, partnering with Wake Tech and NC Works to try to provide more workshops, and then also doing more research around mentoring. So we just want to give you some updates from that. And I don't know if I don't want to put Lenarda on the spot, but would you mind telling us a little bit about what's going on with the adult high school diploma program? If you're comfortable,
Honestly, I think that probably should, because I missed that last meeting, Donna might be the best person to speak on behalf of that. Donna?
Okay.
Is that, I don't want to put Donna on the spot. Is that okay, Donna?
I don't mind doing it. I just didn't know if somebody, I was at that meeting, so I mean, I can share it. I just didn't know if someone was more involved with the day-to-day.
Yeah, if you don't, you or Donna would probably be best.
All right, well, I'll do it. And if I miss anything, Donna, please speak up there. So one thing that we've talked about as a committee is that a lot of the people that we work with need a little more help to get job ready. Of course, we know a lot of people need support services, they need housing, and our other committees are doing a great job with that. But there's other things that people need to get a little more job ready, including resume work, interview work, just learning how to explain what you've done and what are some of the skills that you have. And so we've reached out to Wake Tech, and of course we're located at the NC Works Career Center, to see if there's some classes that are regularly offered that maybe we could offer just to our clients and have more kind of focused more on some of their specific needs. Because certainly if you've recently been released from prison, you have a little bit different needs than someone who, well, just got laid off, which is a lot of our other employment clients right now in the middle of the pandemic, or hopefully the tail end of the pandemic. I'm not going to say the middle anymore. But one thing that's come out of these discussions is something very exciting with Wake Tech. Wake Tech is specifically has a project working on helping people get their high school diploma or GED, and is looking to offer a class specifically for returning citizens. I think they can have other students, but that's their focus. And then also doing mentoring. So meeting with people one-on-one and helping them develop their strategy for one, getting through the high school equivalency, and then thinking about next steps. So the actual courses would be offered at Tillery at our NC Works Career Center. So it's a place people are already familiar with. We're really pulling together as a group, providing computers and classes, and then they'll do virtual mentoring with Wake Tech faculty. And so we're really excited about this option. If you know anyone who might be interested, please let them know. We're trying to, as often the case is that we want a full class, one, so the class will make, but two, to make sure that we're using everyone's time well. And it's also, of course, if you're familiar with the GED or the high set, you know it just keeps getting harder and harder. And so it can be really discouraging. And so we're wanting to make sure that people who are working on it have all the support they need and don't get discouraged. Because, you know I work a lot with youth as well. And after that third time you fail the math test, it gets pretty frustrating. And frankly, I doubt any of us here could pass that math test. It's not easy. So it's something where we want to make sure it'll be very important to have that degree and then also that support that they need. And start thinking about next steps. Do they want to go on and work on a credential or a 2-year degree at the community college, or go back or go into a career? And so I think it's a great option and something that actually came out of the discussions that were going on in this committee. So I think we can all claim it as a win. Donna, did I miss anything? Okay.
I learned something last meeting. I'll add that the registration does close tomorrow, and that's right there on that flyer.
Oh, okay. And could you share that the flyer with everyone in the chat? Or do you have it? I may have it if you don't.
Yes, it will. You know what? Actually, if it's okay, Melinda, I'll just send it out to all the council for that purpose. Yeah, because the other teams will need it as well.
Perfect. Great work. All right. Trying to think what other updates.
But if you do happen to find someone, or if someone's interested after March 26th, don't hesitate to still send them our way or toward the NC Works Career Center, because I think they're still going to allow enrollment up until sometime in April. But so if that does happen, just still continue to send them our way.
Great. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, I remember that as well, that they can keep doing it, that it doesn't have to be a specific if you start on day one. And actually, now that I realized I got off my agenda, and I think because we're a small enough group, I think normally we just say, put your information up on the chat, but I think we're a small enough group. If people don't mind, I'd like to go around real quick and just let everyone know who's here. And I'll start. I'm Melinda Todd. I work with Capital Area Workforce Development Board, and I am the Strategic Initiatives Director, and Reentry is part of Strategic Initiatives. And I'll just go down here. Donna, do you mind introducing yourself?
Or can you guys hear me? I know I have this mask on. My name is Donna Farrar, and I'm with the Wake Local Reentry Council. I'm a case manager, assisting folks who are returning back home.
And Donna has a long history of helping people with employment as well. So we're really lucky to have her. And I can't tell, I think Lenarda may have fallen off. So we'll go
I'm here.
on. Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
You're just not on my screen for some reason.
Yes, I'm Lenarda Williamson, and I am the coordinator for the LRC. My role is to build the partnership network. The committee, you all and the large council identifies the service gaps or the needs. And part of my work is to find solutions and bring other partners to the table. So glad to be here.
And if you didn't know already, Lenarda is connected to everyone in Wake County. So we're also very lucky to have her. And on my screen, I see Jeff next. So I'll just call on you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jeff Sakharoff. This is my first meeting, so I'm very excited. I'm the Director of Career Services at the Wilson College of Textiles at NC State. I've been a career counselor for about 20 years, both here at State and UNC Chapel Hill. So a lot of experience working mostly with college students, teaching career readiness skills. I teach a class on resumes and job interviewing and job searching and professionalism and emotional intelligence and things like that. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to jump in and get involved.
Terrific. Welcome. And Dominique, you're who's next on my screen.
Hi, my name is Dominique. This is my first time coming to this meeting as well. I'm the communications coordinator for the Center of Third World Organizing, and also the founder of Correctional Views, an organization just providing education on both realms of proactive entrance, preventing entrance to prison, and kind of stems of reentry information of those getting out and aligning to make more, what they say, equitable systems in the community. So that's what I do.
Excellent. Welcome. And Emily?
Hello, I'm the Bachelor of Social Works intern at Interfaith Prison Ministries for Women.
Terrific. And Jennifer?
Yes, hi, Jennifer Jackson. I'm CEO of Interfaith Prison Ministry for Women. And this also is my first time at this particular subcommittee, and am happy to be here.
Great. I think that's everyone. So it's, I don't want to push this too hard since we have several new people. However, if one thing that we are trying to do is look for a chair for this committee. So if you or you know someone who you think would be good as a chair, as you can see, we're still a very new group, and certainly trying to get some more consistency here. Please let me know, or let Lenarda or let Donna know. But we would really love to have a regular chair. We do have a vice chair, although he couldn't attend, but we're hoping he will continue to be a part of this. And he's actually worked very hard to work on developing courses and classes for returning citizens on employment at the Career Center. So it's been a wonderful ally that we've had as part of this work, and that's Kaiser Wilson. So I will go ahead and, are there any questions since we've got a bunch of new people, or not a bunch, but a couple of new people?
Is it possible, is there like a description or what all is involved with that position, that with the chair role?
Yes, and we can send that to you. I think, trying to make sure if we have it, I might have it right in front of me. No, I don't, but I can send that out to the group to make sure. And, you know, if you want to sit down with us and talk through it and think about if it's an option, because, you know, we have a lot of dreams for this committee. I think we'll get into that. And so, and you'll get a lot of staff support. Donna and I are the staff support for the committee. So it's not, thank you, Leonarda. She's going to send it to all of us.
Oh, cool.
But we really appreciate, you know, would support, and, you know, while it will be good work to do, I think as a staff support for this, it would not be an overwhelming task. And that's part of what we try to do as being the staff support, to make sure that it's a manageable and that you didn't get in over your head.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think we're ready for the next slide. And yeah, so one thing that happened last time, and I hate you all weren't here for it because it was a really great, and you can actually go on to wakelrc.org and look at the meetings and watch the meetings. And so we actually had 3 people from the New Start program share some of the things they've done. And I just, you know, it was a great session. I think we all learned a lot, but I wanted to hit on a couple of points that I thought were things for us to think about as a committee. And one that they had a lot of success with is reaching out to their local chambers of commerce to recruit employers. So presenting to their local chambers, getting to meet, letting employers know that we work with people that are looking for work. And so I thought that was a really good option, or something that we could consider. Also, they did a lot of meeting with employers one-on-one. And one thing they said they made sure to do is not go in there and say, hey, you know, I work with returning citizens that need jobs. Instead, just really trying to learn about what were the talent needs to see if it was a good match, and also recognizing when it wasn't. The other thing they use that I think we were all really excited about at the last meeting is that they use peer mentors, and they're specifically coaching them on interviewing and talking to them about getting ready for the job. And then once they start, continuing to provide support. So, you know, I know mentorship can be a hard something to organize, but I think it would really have a lot of benefits for our clients. And so it was something we wanted to research further. And then the other one that they found, small businesses were really a sweet spot. I think that's something we can look at as well. They may not have some of the same restrictions some bigger organizations have. And then the other thing they've done is they've done a really good job of, when they have a success, making sure the local media is promoting it, because that also helps reach employers too, when they see someone has had a great employee and done well. And so reaching employers that way. Excuse me. And then the final thing they talked about is, and this is something they said they learned the hard way, is making clients decide let the client decide how they want to participate, instead of saying, hey, we've got this job, we think you'd be a good fit, you know, and really kind of ramrodding it, but really figuring out what the client wants and how they want to be a part of it, which I think our staff does a lot in our team do a good job with that. But it was a good reminder that it's easy to say, oh, I've got this opening, I'm going to make someone fit it, instead of really trying to make sure that it's a good match for the client. So any of those are, I don't know if seeing those, since you didn't hear their presentation, but do any of those jump out at you all as something that you'd want to learn more about, or want us to research more, or think about as adding to part of our strategy?
Well, I think meeting with the employers one-on-one is like important. Like right now, I know that some may be, I don't know, I announced it in the meeting. I actually aligned with a lot of Black-owned businesses that have been donating back, but now are interested in like further assisting. And there's a owner of, he has spring break watches, but he's now like listed in like Nordstrom's, and is like willing to speak, recorded a video, and willing to, you know, mentor other people on how to, like, you know, develop businesses like that, if that's what they're interested in. Just providing people with the options of entrepreneurship. So even, you know, knowing that entrepreneurship is not for everyone because of the task load of it, just, you know, aligning them with the information of tools that they could use to do that. There's also a course that I was able to acquire that anybody that has been impacted by the justice system, they can take it for free. It's called like the Side Hustle course, but it just teaches people how to acquire money without needing like a middle person to say, I'll hire you for that. And I'm like also like the example of that course, because it didn't give me a side hustle. It actually gave me a whole position as the communication coordinator for the Third World Center Organizing. So I know that it works. I get paid for it. And so people have that. So just like speaking to people on things about that natures and developing relationships on a band with like the, you know, the entire organization, so everyone will have access to that. Because like I know I'm like limited on how many people I can get that out to personally, but to have like more companies like this that provide that information because they see somebody else doing it would definitely be beneficial to more people.
That's a great point. Anyone else, have y'all seen entrepreneurship as a good career option for the people that you work with?
I'd say the dream of entrepreneurship is big. And I think the execution of the dream
hasn't necessarily come as readily. And I know that there's programs like the Brian Hamilton program, and I keep hearing of others, but, you know, we work with women who do have dreams, and, you know, there's low-hanging fruit with it that could absolutely help them, you know, get it off of paper and into reality. But we really don't have very many sources to refer. We really don't have any other sources to refer them to, and would really love that.
What about creating one? So because I'm listening to you say how, you know, there's no sources of it, and like there's a lot of women in the area that would be interested in that. You know, I myself, like I was released out of prison July 5th, 2019, and so, you know, I've been able to work with Advanced Carolina, develop other skills, and then I founded my correctional abuse organization back in January of 2020. There we go. I'm getting my dates mixed up because of COVID. It's all messed up. So I like understand, and like I've worked with other people, like I said, to develop like different strategies and patterns, you know like the worst case scenarios of things and what happens when it goes bad, things that you need to be prepared for, and things, you know, to further like success. So I feel like that could be like a conversation within the team and other people that we may, you know, kind of align with. That way it could be like self-created. That way it's like not so dependent on another person to train someone, or how do we align them with, you know, those that need it. It's just something like we can produce, and then we can tell them directly where to go to. And these will be like the steps and guidance, and create like kind of mentorship out of that as well.
Is it something that the committee would like? I mean, we would be happy to go and also look at what's there, because I know there are some programs there, and learn more about that. And then then kind of getting to Dominique's point, you know, if we had talked about that, maybe at the next meeting, what exists, and then we think about what's missing. Is there a gap there that we might want to fill? Is that something that would be valuable, or I know, okay.
I think it would be hugely valuable. And I think, you know, with hopefully not too long, a chance to have some kind of roundtable symposium with women who are, with people, of course, people who are interested in starting their own business. Like Dominique, I don't know what it is that you do through your organizing, but certainly I would love to have you come and speak, you know, with women we work with. I'd love to show the Side Hustle course, like, you know, anything that is possible to start unlocking the creativity that's there. I mean, you know, like these are.
Well, that's it's a point that I bring up to people a lot of the times, because even in while incarcerated, there are people that do not have sources of income from family or friends, and you know, it's a survival mode. It's still money. You still got to pay for things in there. So people, they already create side hustles in there. They get really creative. You know, they have to come up with different realms, and some of the things that they do in there, people pay for out here. And so it's just like, you know, if you're able to tap into that stream, and or, you know, be connected with like the kind of the basics of like, okay, is it an LLC or is it a nonprofit? Is it, you know, do I have to go through this? Like, what are the statutes in like North Carolina that, you know, I have to follow or whatever? And or, you know, be connected to funding if they don't have money themselves to like just pay the simple, you know, $213 or, any other fee that might come along with that before, creating, additional revenue to support it. Those are things that they can, like, those are like the basic things that people get tripped up on in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think that would just be vital information, because it's literally just doing what you've been doing to survive in prison out here.
Yeah. And I think it's a really good point to make sure that, whatever we do helps people not have to make mistakes that we can give some guy, or not, maybe not we, that people who do this training or have done this before can give that kind of guidance, because just like you're saying, for some people, it may be their only real option. Is developing that small business. And I used to teach small business planning at Durham Tech, and I would get a lot of people from TROSA, which is, for those who are familiar with it, it's sometimes there's justice involved, but it's for people who are recovering from substance abuse disorder, and had maybe some limited career options, but had amazing ideas. And just, by the end, they would have a whole business plan. And really, they'd have the other people there vet it and say, hey, that is not going to work. Or, we'd have people from insurance companies review it. And so I think it can be a great option for people who may be somewhat limited in careers that they can get hired in, but yet have amazing ideas and skills. And so I've really the business plans would blow. Some of them were just wonderful and amazing. A guy who didn't have his high school diploma, but could figure out how much flooring should be in a house in his head. I mean, just some really, anyway, I love teaching that class. So it got me off of that. But anyway, there are lots of other programs, options, and we can do some research and try to see what's out there. And then also see, what when we see this, what do we think's missing? And what would that look like? But anyway, we don't want to jump too far ahead, but I do love entrepreneurship. So we're happy to do some more research on that. Is anything else in this list? We talked about maybe, and I know, Jennifer, you all do some mentoring or have peer mentors as well. How has that worked for you all?
Yes, I think it has worked. And it does work for us. There's just, we have wonderful, wonderful ally mentors. And I got to sit in on just a wee tad of the orientation for a peer support specialist training that we're sponsoring. We're actually doing it, Melinda. We had the orientation this month. And, just getting a little peek of being a fly on the wall in a room that I wasn't leading, there was just a different level of comfort and discourse among the participants and the trainer. And it was palpable. And so, it's a different model. It's a different model from the one that we started with. But, I think we're going to continue to refine that. An internship program, as you know, is part of the outcome of this training, so that, we can cycle it back and hire women who are, being trained through the program to pay it forward to women who, are more recently released. So far, so good. It's still very new for us, but
yeah, I'm really excited to hear how that all works out, because I think it's something we're very interested in as well. We wanted to do it with our youth program as well, and it's hard to coordinate. And so I really look forward to hearing about how you've done it and what are some of the challenges and some of the things that have worked well. All right.
Melinda, I do have a question, not about the ideas that y'all generated last time, but back in the day, there used to be conversations around things like certificates of relief and bonding and those other, is that still part of the world? Are they necessary? Are they offered? Just curious about how that piece is.
Yeah, I can answer it, and probably Donna can as well. So yeah, we work closely. There's someone at the state level with NC Works that can work with employers. We can refer employers to developing that. And then for anyone, and I don't know if Donna, do you know if we've used it? I know our Career Center in general has.
I know that Rose to Reentry has.
Mm. Yeah, so we can always make that referral if you have an employer that you think, and we have flyers for that they provide at the state level. But yeah, it's really just paperwork from my understanding. And there's staff at Division of Workforce Solutions that'll complete that paperwork for anyone across the state, or help with that paperwork. So yeah, that's a great option, particularly if that's kind of that one thing that pushes people over the edge of being interested, but that's still something you can get through our career centers. The other thing kind of related to that is that you've probably seen we have once a month workshops with legal aid, where they sit down with individuals to talk about expungement and other legal barriers to employment, and help people with their paperwork with that as well.
And Melinda, to that point, with regard to legal aid, Jennifer, you mentioned certificates of relief. That is something that legal aid addresses during the expungement clinics. And so, yes, they're still offering that as a resource as well.
Linda, I have a question thinking about employers, and I see the bullets up there about outreach and meeting with them. How much does geography play into when we're thinking about employers, the location and transportation and things like that? I imagine that must be a factor.
It's huge. Yeah, that's a really great point. And again, other people can probably respond to it more than I can. But I mean, it's part of why it's hard to serve the whole county. And we work a lot in Johnson County, which even has more transportation barriers. But you know, we can help in some ways. You know, we have the occasion. You know, we can do an Uber card to get someone to their interview, but we can't do Uber cards for every day at work. We certainly encourage, and that was actually something that came out in the last meeting. They said that they actually went along the bus line to figure out companies to talk to. I think we talked about it as a group as, I don't know if the best, I don't know if that's exactly always gets you to the employers you want to work with, but it was a creative idea about how to do that as a way to target employers that we knew clients could more easily get to. I mean, we're lucky we have a bus line, but I think we all know it's not comprehensive. I mean, even we've placed several people at Amazon, and the bus gets you almost there, but there's still some ways to walk. And if it's a hot day or a rainy day, people do it, but it's not fun. And it makes it just a further barrier.
It is, well, I think when just listening to the question and what you're saying about, you know, the barriers, because we dealt with that last week, getting people to get haircuts because it was raining and storm and people were depending on the buses to get there. However, previously we were working with Instacart too, and we already set it up because we're getting food delivered to some people's houses for a free cooking class. And so they're going to actually sponsor that, because some of these organizations are looking for small ways into how they can provide or say they're giving back into the criminal justice system. And so I think it would be beneficial to probably go further into that conversation and be like, okay, cool, different areas, see if there's a way to create some type of system that the company agrees to provide either lower rates or free rates for a standard amount of time of, you know, transporting certain individuals. I know it wouldn't be a full access 5,000 people could get, but there could be some type of sponsorship on that part, just because a lot of individuals, like I said, they want to give back, don't know how to give it back, and they don't want to get messy with it. But I think that could be something that could be talked about to one of them.
And to add on that, we also had I guess it was just last week, I had a good meeting with Go Triangle, who's one of the people who work there, who does outreach as part of the bigger Reentry Council. And one thing they've offered they can do is actually talk directly to employers about different transportation options. So it's not just the bus. So if you had enough people, they can run special routes, they can do van pools. But again, you have to have kind of the numbers to justify it. But it's certainly, I didn't even know that was a resource until then. All right, let's see where. Sorry, I've got multiple screens going to make sure we're staying on place. Well, it sounds like there are a lot of great ideas, and one thing I let's go ahead into this one. So looking at our priority action items, we've done a lot with this. I think we can feel pretty good. We're working on developing workshops just for employment, and then also that bigger partnership with Wake Tech. I think we keep looking for those opportunities to do shared workshops and making sure that we're promoting them. But I think we've actually gone pretty far on our priority action item 1. So if we want to go on to 2. And this is something that's come up, and I don't know if we may actually, let me pull up 3 real quick. I just want to make sure I don't want to lose what we just talked about just because we had this, with earlier. Can you pull up 3, Leonardo or Donna?
It's actually, next on the slide, and it's also on the agenda. It says organize and host virtual and in-person reentry specific job fairs.
Okay,
there
thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Just wanted to make sure. So looking at this and what we've just talked about, I mean, we develop these priority areas. I think a lot of the things we're talking about still certainly follow in with them. For some reason, I thought we had, resume building and what. So thinking about the 2 things that we've just talked about, which I think come into getting people's mindset, getting them ready to work. So we had both the idea of entrepreneurship and the idea of learning more about mentorship. Of those 2, which ones would you like to hear more about at our next meeting?
Would you repeat that question again, Melinda?
Sure. I just did, before I moved on to the priority areas, I wanted to sum up what we just talked about. I thought they actually came under the priority area and it doesn't quite fit. So that's why I wanted to back up a little bit. So we talked about 2 areas from what we learned by New Start that it sounds like there was interest in. There was interest in learning more about kind of entrepreneurship training programs and how to support entrepreneurship. And then the other one was mentorship. Certainly IPMW is beginning to do pure mentorship, but we could also do more research and see what else is out there and bring that back. And if we do one, that doesn't mean we don't do the other. I'm just thinking about using our time wisely and what would be what we'd want to learn about or discuss at the next meeting.
So I know you asked the question earlier. You asked the question to those that provide direct services. What are we getting a lot of clients that are looking to go into entrepreneurship? Was the answer to that a great interest? Because I was thinking the response to that will impact the decision whether we pursue mentoring or entrepreneurship to delve into next.
And when we say mentorship, is that mentorships in getting a credential or mentorship for the job skills?
Yeah.
What area of mentorship are we talking about?
That's a good point. I mean, I think more in this, it's about kind of mentoring people to help get them job ready.
Would there be a way to just kind of combine the 2 items? I don't know, but so if speaking about entrepreneurship and then talking about mentorship, still providing, those the items in stories for those 2 or the training for developing that pattern and still having training with or still having mentors for those that aren't interested in doing, their own business and just want to know how to get in line.
Yeah, I don't know. I may not have made myself clear. I wasn't saying we would only do one or the other. I was just more trying to think of what to present and kind of look at for the next time. I don't at all want people to think if I say entrepreneurship, then we're never going to look at mentoring, but just thinking about the next.
So my thought, I'm glad you repeated that, and that probably got us off. My thought to answer that question, my feedback is that probably based on what we need now immediately, what that look like, and I guess I won't say my thought, it's more of a question, maybe based on what our clients' needs are now, would it be more mentoring? Do we have more turnover with our clients with regards to employment? And would that be like what we need to probably focus on now and we can look at entrepreneurship a little bit like next.
Yeah,
I guess that's the question. And I guess so, Donna, what are your thoughts on that? I'm just thinking, you serve as, you work with the clients. Is there a lot of turnover? Or do you think mentoring would be something that we probably should focus on now?
I would think so. And also in that mentorship, I'll go back to that slide, but where it talked about still providing, where was it? A meeting with the employers, like on one end, we're still talking to the employers, seeing what their ideal job seeker, who that person is. And then on the other side of that, getting that job seeker ready so that they do fit that job. And so I think we can surround ourselves with providing the mentorship for both entities, for both parties, so that it is a good fit on both ends.
So I just have a question about because you referred to the questionnaire. Who are the individuals that you get the responses of needs from?
What do you mean?
Like, where are these, like, is there like a program like they go to? Are these the people that you're?
Yeah, so where I am, I'm stationed in the NC Works Career Center, and I'm assisting men and women who have just been released within like 1 year of release. And so they're coming into the center looking for employment, but oftentimes some of the barriers are they may not be able to read or write, or they've been in so long that they don't even know how to complete a resume or talk to an employer. They have the skills, but they just can't communicate that on paper or be confident enough in front of an employer. And so those are the types of folks that I'm currently assisting right now.
Okay.
So it sounds like maybe even mentoring is a little limited. We also look into like coaching or some technical assistance people could provide, which I think, we can do that as we're looking at kind of best practices across the country and see what's there and share what we've seen, what people are saying works and how those are set up.
Yeah, because as you guys are saying that, because like the only thing I was thinking about, because individuals that have been like incarcerated for like 20 plus years, they don't even know how to use phones or computers right now, or like navigate, because a lot of everything, even with interviews right now, are Zooms. So people don't even know how to like, push the buttons. I just learned new tricks on Zoom.
I was about to say, I still have trouble some days.
Like they have updates and I'm like, when did that update happen? So yeah, like those, like the basic things, like sometimes they don't get considered because like they don't.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that way, certainly I don't know if there's a gold standard of mentoring, but it sounds like we're talking about there may be a spectrum of things that we would love to have volunteers for. And so I think we can do some research on our end, and certainly we have some needs that we would love to have as well. So we can do some research and share all that. And in particular, if we can find a group that's willing to come and talk to us about what they've done, we'll invite them as well. But it sounds like that's where kind of the energy is right now, but not to say that by the fall we couldn't be then, once we conquer this, move on to entrepreneurship. And I do want to share, because I don't want it to be lost, is that also Wake Capital Area is developing not a training program, but kind of like an entrepreneurship career pathway that we can connect people to at our career centers. We haven't even started yet, but it is something we'll be working in for the rest of this year and so it might be something we can make sure that all our partners will know about and can connect to as well. I tell you about something that is still in the very, very early thought process, but is coming. It's on my work plan, so. Great. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to point out is, and then we'll start talking about kind of next steps and what people can take on, is something that we've been talking about, is wanting to do some kind of reentry job fair. And I just wanted to see if anyone has done this. I know that in the past, kind of the previous LRC groups have actually had really successful job fairs. And so we would love to get those going again, recognizing we're probably pretty far away from in-person job fairs. And And I think when we talked about this at a previous meeting, there was some concern if we did a virtual job fair, would that create barriers for people who like Dominique said, may not be as comfortable on the computer or with some of those. So while I've gotten fresh people here, what have y'all seen around job fairs, and particularly virtual job fairs with returning citizens?
I think the number one thing that I would say, what I've seen is that I haven't seen anything. Even coming back and being placed on probation, I was unaware of a lot of these things that even exist right now that I'm learning of. So it would definitely be just like the communication aspect of finding out about it. My probation officer did not provide me with any of the resources that you guys offer, or direct me to a site to where they could like assist me with employment or things of that nature. So I would think like the main thing would be communicating its presence, or finding like an effective way for people to know about it that don't come, that aren't aligned. Because I came back, I was incarcerated in Arizona, so I was interstate, so I didn't come out of the North Carolina system. Like, so I didn't know of, or work of, or see anything, prior to being here. And I don't have like friends or anything in this system. So I didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a big thing.
So one thing that I've thought of is, so Capital Area does their really big job fair every August. Last year was the first time we did it virtually. It had some hiccups, but we had a lot of employers, we matched a lot of people, a lot of participation, but we did hear, I'm trying to remember who the gentleman was, but he talked about that he had some clients who were interested in participating in the career fair, but they couldn't even get logged on, like that it did present some barriers. I think maybe they had older computers or didn't have great internet access. So one thing I've thought of, we can think about and we don't know yet, but if the August job fair is virtual again, maybe we can create some strategies around helping our clients participate in that job fair. Maybe even doing some trainings on how to use the technology, making sure people's technology is compatible. And so that was one of the thoughts I had about making it, we're not doing our own job fair, but helping people take part in a very large job fair that, if you've ever been there, it's everything from accountant jobs, Wake County Public Schools hiring bus drivers, Bojangles it is any career you can think of, at least is at that job fair. And I think we had 1,500 people last year participate, and I think about 200 businesses. So it's definitely, if we can find a way to connect we don't have to decide it now, but just as an idea, as a way to make sure that the people that we work with aren't being left behind because we've had to move to this virtual setting.
And Melinda, I see Jennifer's got some ideas. She said hubs in there. Jennifer, do you want to say something about those hubs?
I'm thinking again in terms of our program, but there are other programs in that we can gather our participants together in a location or two. And if we had a number of hubs in the area doing that, then we would have some of that systems navigation assistance that could help remove barriers from people being able to participate. I also did have a question about, it was either Dress for Success or Step Up that did a virtual job fair recently. I don't know if you all, it was Dress for Success. So I didn't go, but just to say they might be a resource in terms of how it went, how it goes, that kind of thing. And I'm also curious with the job fair, I have to think that since it was for NC Works, it was not vetted specifically for reentry.
That's correct.
Okay. Would you all be able to do one that was vetted for reentry?
I think that's a possibility. I think definitely something that this committee could work on. I was just thinking also making sure that people can take part in the very.
Well, I think that's a good question, just specifically because if it's touching like people that are just recently being released out of prison, the anxiety of automatic, rejection because of background, it may be something that they are qualified for and do have degrees for and have done previously, but automatically they're going to be denied because of their background, and that mentally isn't it's not a, it's not a comfortable feeling for people stepping into those arenas, and may prevent some from even wanting to, not saying it would prevent all, but it may prevent some from even wanting to participate and find a job that they could be applicable for. I'm just scared everybody's going to deny them because of their background.
And it may be, and I don't know if this is possible. I mean, it can be even a question that we ask our employers. And so we would make sure that we weren't, that maybe people, our participants have, or all the people that we're working with have a list of the employers that we know are offender friendly. I do know, I don't know if anyone here participated in it. We haven't done it for 2 years, which is sad because it's a great event. We do a lodging, hospitality, and retail job fair, which of course are all the industries that have been hit really hard by the pandemic, but I hope we will do it again. And they specifically wanted us to recruit with returning citizens. And so they were very welcoming and excited to have a variety of people at that career fair. And then the last one we had was in person, but I think this was kind of before everyone else got here, but it was very successful. And like I said, it was something we knew to encourage with our returning citizens. But kind of, I do think that would be a great long-term goal for this committee, is to hold a specific career fair for all our clients and all the people that we touch.
And out of curiosity, do you know which platform they use for the virtual fair?
I should. Oh, shoot. And I just heard it again today. We had our board meeting. And it's not going to come to me, but I can find out and send it to you. I mean, from everything I've heard, even so, we did the big one we normally do in the fall, and then that one went well. Yeah. But again, we had some of these issues we've heard about, but we've had a few focused one. We did an IT one. I think we did a healthcare one. And even just the few months since then, it's already gotten better. And you can kind of create your own, if you're an employer, you create your own station, and it's really interactive. And so everything I've heard about it, that it's only been getting better and that the people are really happy with it. And we would be able, I think if we were going to do one ourselves, we could use that software as well. But again, I love Jennifer's idea of us doing some hubs so people aren't navigating it and getting frustrated all by themselves. All right. Well, I think I appreciate people joining us. I hope you'll keep coming. And hopefully some of the people we've had at the previous meetings will be together. It was a great discussion. I'm really excited to have more people join us. I think our next step is just, are there any announcements? I'm always terrible about announcements. Yes, of course we have announcements. We have our big event coming up. So our next Wake Local Reentry Council meeting, which is April 22nd, we are going to be celebrating Service Provider Appreciation. So as we all know, next month is Reentry Month, or Second Chance Month. And we want to give everyone a pat on the back and hopefully a chance to take a big breath and enjoy and try to appreciate all the work we've all done through extraordinary times. And the fact that we're still standing is something to be really proud of. And so we want to celebrate all our wonderful providers, everyone who's been doing this work. So please join us next month, basically same time, same place, but here from 1 to 2:30. Do you want to add anything, Leonarda?
Yes. Am I? Yeah, I'm not muted. We have a new phone number. So I didn't put that in the presentation. However, the new phone number is in the agenda, and I'm happy to share it now. So that new number is 919 754 5326. And when I say we, that's the Wake LRC phone number. There was an 856 number. That number, we're no longer using that phone number. So this is the number to contact or to share for Wake LRC. It's on our website. So if you forget, of course, I've sent out enough emails. So you'll also have it. Just look at my signatures there as well. Our mobile, well, at least the mobile numbers have not changed. So that's it, because we already talked about the partnership with Wake Tech.
Okay, and I just want to add something. I apologize. I thought I was showing you guys the slide, but I did take notes of what you guys said about the hubs and the strategy around some of the things we talked about. So I was typing all those things that you mentioned so that we can follow up on those. And then also concerning the platform that they use at the NC Works Career Center, it's called Premier Virtual.
Yay, thank you, Donna.
Mhm.
Does that mean anything to you, Jeff? I thought you'd be like, well. But yeah, so what I have for some next steps is that we can do some more research about the career fair one, the platform. We already found that, so I'm going to check that one off. But also we'll find out what happens when they're recruiting employers. Can we find out upfront if they're offender friendly? And that's something we can research if we want to support people participating in the larger career fair. And of course, with the larger goal of creating our own career fair. And then I have as the other next step is to research some mentorship and coaching best practices and bring that information back to the group.
And also, we are in the process of composing a list of background-friendly employers. So it's not something that we're necessarily going to release to the public, but something that we can utilize within the group, those who are involved in this subcommittee. We've added a few, so if you'd like to add some individuals, we can talk about what's best, like if you guys want to be able to have access to that document so you can add those employers, or if you just want to email it to us.
And so a question on that. I know we're about to wrap up, so I'll be real quick. But when I'm thinking about like a lot of the employers I work with, especially like in the textiles environment, there's a lot of manufacturing and shift work and things like that. But these are in often rural parts of the state that might be challenging to get to or not. Are we looking specifically, like I guess we talked earlier, specifically in Wake County, or does it not matter in terms of location? From our perspective, obviously, if folks can't get there, that's another issue. But and if this is something to table for another meeting, that's fine. I just was, as Donna was speaking, it made me think of that.
What do you see, Donna? Do you see many people able to have their own transportation and get to jobs further away, or is it primarily need to be local?
I guess it just depends what area you're talking about, like if it's Johnston County or like how far out.
I mean, it could be Gastonia, it could be closer to Charlotte, like some of our
Mm-hmm.
organizations. I mean, I can still ask the question, and I guess I can bring that back to this group. And if that's information we can at least have, should that be useful to somebody, I guess that's,
Yeah.
that's
I
all
mean,
we
I
can.
think it would still be useful because we do have other local reentry councils throughout the state. So it could be beneficial to them as well, if
Okay.
you're willing to share that information with them too.
We can certainly do some research. Yeah.
That'd be great. And I do want to share that if you do want to share employers that you work with, we're not going to go out and solicit them. It would be more if we were going to do roundtables or ask them to participate in a larger career fair, that we're all part of that. So I do want to make that clear, because I know sometimes it can be a competitive environment. All right, so I think we've got our next steps again, and we'll send out information about the chairing position. And if anyone is interested, please let me know. Or if you want to just talk through it, we would love to have some more support with this as we're building this council. This committee, and I think we've already had some successes. And I wish some of the people who helped with those successes were here today. But hopefully, we know everyone is very busy right now. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
don't forget the expungement. I didn't want to jump ahead, so
No,
but we do
please
have.
You know I'm terrible at that
It's
stuff.
no problem. The criminal record expungement clinic, we have it monthly on the first Thursday of the month. So the next clinic will be April 1st. It's always from 11 to 1. Uh, Melinda mentioned the next large council meeting. It's an appreciation meeting for you all, our partners, the service providers, our advocates, and the ones that are propelling this work forward. That's on the 22nd, and the next Employment Service Committee. I'm sorry, I think maybe I overstepped, Melinda.
Oh no, you are fine.
Okay, it's May 27th. From 2 to 3. I will say, I'll just add that we'll make sure we get flyers out. I'll send the flyers out to the whole council. That's the flyers for the NC State partnership for that. Yeah, we'll send that out, and then as well as the flyer for the expungement. One other thing, I just thought about this. We have the highlights newsletter will be going out the end of this month. So if you have something to share, please email it to me by the end of the week. So by 5 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll put that in there as well. So thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and certainly know you have a lot of commitments, and so we appreciate that you were able to be a part of this.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We'll see you next month.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.